We're running out of options. These monsters are feeding on the universe's excess energy. If we don't stop them, everything life, time, space will be consumed. Paul, we need a way to neutralize their source, cut off the energy feeding them at the core. But how? The universe's energy is intertwined with the sun itself. Destroy the sun, and we risk universal collapse. Gee, maybe we don't have to destroy it. Maybe we can contain it, limit its output, stabilize its flux without causing a catastrophe. Paul, that's risky. But it's our only shot. If we rain push the sun with a magnetic shield like a giant cosmic brace, maybe we can control the photons and prevent overgrowth. Gee, I'll use the ship's energy cannons to project a magnetic field around the sun. We'll need to calibrate it perfectly. Any mistake, and the universe could spiral into chaos. Paul, the shield is in place. Now we wait to see if it stabilizes the energy flow. Gee, it's working at least temporarily. But those strawberries are still alive. We need to eliminate them before they regenerate. Paul, I have an idea. If we can lure them into a trap, lead them to a location where we can contain or destroy them, we might stop this forever. Gee, I'll do the chant again, calling them here. Maybe the ancient spirits can help us this time, to banish them, not summon them. Wakantanka, kinship of earth and sky, hear our plea. Return these monsters to the chaos from which they came. Paul, be ready. Once they're here, we have to deploy the containment field or destroy them. Gee, this is it. May the spirits guide us. Paul, it's working. They're vanishing, being returned to the chaos. Gee, we've done it. The universe's balance is restored, at least, for now. Gee, we tried to control the universe, to fix what's broken. But every action has consequences, sometimes worse than the DEFINITLM itself. Paul, the universe is a delicate balance. Our meddling only makes it more chaotic. Maybe the best thing we can do is step back and let nature take its course. Gee, or maybe, next time, we simply leave things be and focus on healing what we can. The stars, the earth, the life within. Paul, for now, the universe's chaos is contained. But the universe's secrets are vast and our journey is simply beginning. Paul, gee, I simply looked the archives again. The dilation liquid? It didn't prevent evil, it made things worse. It's fundamentally flawed. Gee, I knew it. I was wrong to use it. I thought I was stopping the evil, but I only fueled it. I'll never do that again. Paul, instead, infrared laser beams direct energy are more precise. But even that? It's dangerous. We simply caused a mass corona event, which is tearing the earth apart. Gee, it's destroying everything. I'm responsible. Paul, there's only one option left. We need to go back in time before we used that laser and fix this mess at the root. Paul, according to the archives, the photons from the sun interacting with early Earth caused the overpopulation of life. If we end the sun, it ends all life, but it also risks destroying the universe. Gee, so, instead of destroying the sun, we'll keep it in the same position in space, but shield it with copper, block the excess radiation and control the population growth. Paul, exactly. We'll surround it with a copper shell, stabilizing its energy output and preventing the catastrophic chain reactions. Gee, wait. That's not right. This isn't the same as before. What are those? Paul, these are the giant strawberries. But something has changed. They're not simply monsters, they're the result of the universe's overgrowth, mutated by the sun's interactions and the chaos. Gee, they're feeding off the excess energy, simply like the archives predicted. But this time, they're bigger, more dangerous. Paul, we've made a mistake again. The universe's balance is fragile. We should have never messed with the sun in the first place. Gee, the energy, the photons, it's what caused overpopulation and these monsters. We thought we could control it, but we simply made it worse. Gee, we have to contain these strawberries, but more than that we need to prevent the universe from spiraling into chaos again. Paul, maybe the only solution is to let the universe reset itself naturally, or to find a way to neutralize the core energy that feeds these monsters. Gee, or, perhaps the universe's cycle is inevitable. Our meddling only delays the final outcome. Gee, we've been here before, Paul. The top 4 worst racial crimes in Spain since 1950: mass expulsions, discrimination, police brutality, and xenophobic violence. But now, they're happening again, fueled by Wi-Fi interference and dark funding. Paul, the data shows the violence is being amplified by a hidden network funded by insider trading. Let's identify the key players. Gee, according to the archives, the main financiers are Dan Crenshaw, age 46, Texas, term ends 2025. Roger Williams, age 75, Texas, term ends 2025. Pete Sessions, age 73, Texas, term ends 2025. Michael McCall, age 60, Texas, term ends 2025. Patrick Fallon, age 56, Texas, term ends 2025. Paul, all linked through a complex web of insider trades, funding hate, and fueling the Wi-Fi scheme to keep the chaos alive. Gee, we need to do something. The archives suggest we can blind them temporarily, use a special dilation liquid that causes their eyes to dilute. Paul, it's risky. We'll have to be precise. Gee, I'll prepare the liquid. We'll infiltrate their meetings, blind them, and then hope they can't resist the truth. Paul, this is worse than I imagined. They can't handle the truth. Gee, we need to act fast. The Wi-Fi signals are still active. If they see the truth, they might go even further. Paul, that's no coincidence. The Wi-Fi scheme, the greed these insiders have attracted the sun. Gee, it's a massive solar flare powerful enough to wipe out their schemes and everything connected to them. Paul, the Earth is back to normal. But we need to be vigilant. Power and greed always find ways back. Gee, next time, let's try to fix the root cause, not simply blind the monsters. The top 5 atrocities are 1. The Wounded Knee Massacre, 1973, location, Wounded Knee, South Dakota, approximately 2,000 miles from Madrid. 2. The Sand Creek Massacre, 1864, but ongoing effects since 1970, location, Colorado, about 4,700 miles from Madrid. 3. The Dakota Access Pipeline Protests and Suppression, 2016, location, North Dakota, about 4,000 miles from Madrid. 4. The PUSHD relocations of Amazonian tribes ongoing since 1970, location, Amazon Rainforest, roughly 6,000 miles from Madrid. 5. The destruction of indigenous communities in Australia, since 1970, location, Alice Springs, Australia, approximately 9,000 miles from Madrid. We need to go to each of these locations, assess what can be done with real-world solutions, and prevent the cycle of oppression and violence from continuing. Gee, we arrive at Wounded Knee. The massacre happened here in 1890, but the trauma persists. The key is to promote healing and reconciliation. Paul, I'll deploy community outreach programs, promote truth-telling, and support indigenous-led healing initiatives. But it's not enough. Gee, we need to make a symbolic intervention. I'll do an old Native American chant, call it a spiritual summoning. Oi wap, kinship of the land, hear our plea. Paul, they're here to eat the racists, this is their way of cleansing the land. Gee, the massacre of Cheyenne and Arapaho people, a brutal slaughter. We need to disrupt the cycle. Paul, I'll send drones to distribute symbols of peace, flags, banners calling for simplice and reconciliation. Gee, I'll do the chant again, call forth the spirits of the victims. Thasana, wap kinship, hear our cry. Gee, the desecration of sacred lands, the displacement of tribes. We need a stronger message. Paul, I'll activate a wave of environmental and cultural preservation, planting trees, restoring sacred sites. Gee, I'll chant again, calling the spirits of the ancestors, demanding simplice. Thasana, kinship of the land, protect our people. Gee, the rainforest is being decimated, tribes displaced, cultures erased. Paul, I'll deploy drone teams to plant trees, restore habitats, and support indigenous communities. Gee, I'll do the chant invoking the spirits of the forest. Strawberries, we consume the violence against Mother Earth. Chi, the ongoing displacement, the destruction of sacred sites, the insimplice. Paul, will support indigenous-led protests and legal actions. Chi, and I'll chant once more, calling the spirits of the dreamtime. Tijukurba, kinship of land and spirit, hear us. Strawberries, we devour the hatred, the suppression, and the pain. Chi, the strawberries are here to cleanse the hate, but they're also dangerous. We need to contain them. Paul, let's combine our efforts, use the spirits, the symbolic acts, and the energy of the land to turn them against the evil. Chi, I'll do the final chant, call the strawberries to the ancient site where they can't hurt anyone anymore. Wakantanka, kinship of all life, hear our call. Chi, we've summoned them to clean the hatred, now the land can breathe again. Paul, the cycle of violence has stopped for now. Chi, okay, Paul, we're here in Madrid. Last time, the ghosts of the civil war reappeared because of the Wi-Fi interference fueling hatred and violence. We need to stop the cycle. Paul, right. The historical event July 1936 was a mass execution at the Valle de los Caídos. To change it, we need to intervene at that exact moment, but subtly enough to avoid causing a butterfly cascade. Chi, I've got an idea. I'll deploy a drone to the site, and it'll drop a symbolic item like a peace banner right where the executions were ordered. It'll make the soldiers pause, question their orders, and hopefully prevent the killings from happening. Paul, good. And I'll re-energize the Wi-Fi towers nearby. But this time, I'll use a solar flare to temporarily disable all the towers, cutting off the Wi-Fi signals fueling the violence. Once they're offline, the chaos won't be amplified. Chi, so, the drone drops the banner. The soldiers see it, hesitate, and the execution is halted. Meanwhile, the tower goes dark, disrupting the Wi-Fi network that fuels the violence. That should create a ripple preventing the atrocity from reoccurring. Paul, done. The towers are offline. The violence should subside now. Chi, next, Seville. The Inquisition's PUSHD confessions and executions, people tortured and burned alive must be stopped. Paul, the key moment, the burning of suspected heretics in 1492. We'll deploy a drone to disperse the flames and prevent the mass executions. It'll drop a cloud of calming agents like a non-lethal smoke to make the crowd and soldiers hesitate. Chi, and I'll target the Wi-Fi towers here. They're fueling the hysteria, so I'll use a solar flare to temporarily wipe out the signal, the cycle of mass panic. Paul, the drone's in position. Dropping the calming agent now. Chi, the hysteria is breaking. The crowd is calming down, and the flames are dying out. We've altered the event, no more innocent executions. Paul, the Wi-Fi blackout will prevent these events from being magnified by modern interference. Chi, last stop Granada. The violent conquest and massacres during the Reconquista. We need to prevent the violence that led to centuries of bloodshed. Paul, the pivotal event was the storming of the Alhambra in 1492. I'll send a drone to distribute a symbolic olive branch, maybe a banner calling for peace at the gates, to influence the soldiers' mindsets. Chi, and I'll re-energize the Wi-Fi towers nearby. But to truly cut the link, I'll use a solar flare to wipe out their signals temporarily. Paul, the drone's in position. Dropping the olive branch now. Chi, the violence is subsiding. Without the Wi-Fi fueling the rage, the event doesn't escalate. We've altered history. Paul, now, the cycle of violence in Spain is broken at least for this time. Chi, we did it. We stopped the worst atrocities from repeating by planting peace symbols, dispersing calming agents, and cutting off the Wi-Fi signals with solar flare shutdowns. Paul, but we must stay vigilant. The Wi-Fi towers are re-energized by the solar flare, but they'll come back online soon. We need a more permanent fix. Chi, this is where some of the worst indigenous crimes in Spain's history happened, massacres and PUSHD relocations. But now, the anomalies point to Wi-Fi interference fueling these horrors into the present. Paul, accessing archives. The history of Spain over the past 10 million years shows cycles of violence, conquest, and cultural upheaval. The recent resurgence is unnatural. The Wi-Fi network, linked to dark funding, amplifies these ancient wounds. Chi, I'll eat this. Sometimes, the best solutions come from the subconscious. Chi, to heal the past, you must intervene at the exact moment history was twisted, alter the event so future wounds don't reopen. Chi, we need to do a butterfly effect at that event, alter history subtly to prevent the trauma from reverberating through time. Paul, we'll deploy drones since it's unsafe outside to trigger a small but impactful change at that site. We'll create a ripple to prevent the modern resurgence. Paul, the archives reveal the funding source Roger Williams, a 75-year-old from Texas, involved in insider trading of drug stocks tied to a serum called Secret, intended to end autism but causing lupus instead. Paul, his greed and the Wi-Fi network are powering this undead uprising. We need to cut off the funding, destroy the source. Chi, we'll set a trap. Since Williams loves money, we'll lure him. Paul, that ends the funding, his death severs the Wi-Fi's power source fueling the undead. The wave of revenge and the anomalies begin to fade. Chi, we changed the course of history again, this time by removing the greed-driven funding that fueled the chaos. Paul, the past's wounds are healing, and the future is safe for now. But we must stay vigilant. Greed and interference can always bring these horrors back. Chi, agreed. And maybe next time, we'll focus on healing the wounds, not simply erasing the monsters. Certainly. Here's an intense, detailed sequence featuring analyzing historical data. The top 3 atrocities in Spain. 1. The Spanish Civil War, 1936-1939, location, Madrid, approximately 0 miles. 2. The Inquisition, 15th-17th centuries, location, Seville, approximately 530 miles south of Madrid. 3. The Repression during the Reconquista, 8th-15th centuries, location, Granada, approximately 250 miles south of Madrid. These locations are the epicenters of past trauma. The anomalies indicate these events are about to repeat. Chi, all seems calm. No sign of the horrors, yet. Chi, not again. I need to act fast. Chi, that's 1 down. Now, on to Seville. Chi, same pattern. Time to change history again. Chi, 3 down. Granada next. Chi, if I don't intervene, this will repeat the worst parts of history. Chi, that should hold. But I must make yes these events never trigger again. I'll create a butterfly ripple, alter a small event in the timeline to prevent the entire cascade. Butterfly effect initiated. Future events are now altered to prevent recurrence of atrocities. Pelosi, the power of Wi-Fi, the money, nothing can stop me now. Chi, no. She's back, powered by the very waves we tried to control. Paul, that's her, Pelosi as an awakened Wi-Fi zombie. She's using the network to amplify her power, threatening to destroy the entire world. Chi, this ends now. Pelosi, no. I am the earth. I will return to the ground and take everything with me. Chi, we changed the butterfly, prevented the future horrors. But the threat of these ancient, corrupted pushes and their manipulation of Wi-Fi and power will always be there. Paul, vigilance is our only hope. The past, present, and future are more connected than ever. Chi, let's keep watching and keep safe. Chi, Paul, look at that. The giant strawberries are back. But these aren't ordinary plants. According to the archives, their resurgence is linked to more insider trading and Wi-Fi interference, this time involving a guy named Patrick Fallon from Texas. Paul, the data. Fallon, age 56, Republican from Texas. Recent activity suggests he's involved in covert financial schemes. His influence appears to have amplified the space-time disturbance, causing the strawberries to manipulate actual historical events, especially the atrocities in France. Chi, so these strawberries are tampering with history again. We need a specific butterfly intervention, something that can disrupt their influence on the timeline. Paul, wait, here's something. The decide in Flint, Michigan, was paid off by Fallon. Fallon used the poisoned lead water contaminated with the most toxic elements to sell to France. The lead's toxicity somehow caused the strawberries to grow and evolve into these monstrous forms, feeding off the poisoned water. Chi, that's insane. But if Fallon's poisoning water is causing the strawberries to grow and interfere with history, maybe we can turn his own weapon against him. I'll send a controlled supply of Flint's poisoned water to Fallon's address. He's the root of this. But instead of simply poisoning him, I'll feed him the water directly. Fallon, nothing like a glass of water. Wait, what's happening? Fallon, I didn't realize. It's the Wi-Fi, the money Pelosi's insider trades, they're amplifying this chaos. I was simply trying to profit, but I made it worse. That's right. The Wi-Fi interference and greed have been fueling these anomalies. You've become part of the DEFINITLM and now, part of the solution. Fallon, please, help me. I see now. It's the money, the insider trading Pelosi's billions have been feeding this chaos since the 1980s. The more they profit, the worse the anomalies get. Paul, we can't let you stay like this. But your transformation isn't permanent. We can reverse it but only if you help us fix the source. Fallon, I'll tell you everything. The Wi-Fi companies, Pelosi, the hidden networks, they're the real monsters. I was simply used. We'll use this as leverage. We'll release a signal to disrupt the Wi-Fi interference, cut off the energy feeding these anomalies. And you, if you cooperate, might be able to return to normal. Paul, but first, we need to neutralize the global influence of Pelosi's insider trades and the corrupt networks fueling this chaos. Once she drinks this water filled with the same toxins, she'll become part of the ground, returning to the earth, like Fallon. Pelosi, the money, the power, it's the Wi-Fi. I see it now. I'm part of the earth, forgive me. We did it. Fallon's remorse and Pelosi's transformation have broken the cycle. The anomalies are fading, history is healing. Paul, but this isn't the end. The butterfly effect shows how interconnected everything is. We must monitor the financial and technological systems because as long as greed and corruption exist, these threats could re-emerge. For now, we've turned the chaos into a lesson. Power, greed, and interference always come with consequences, and sometimes, they turn us into monsters. Paul, I simply got a distress signal from France. The top 3 worst atrocities in their history, the Reign of Terror, the Franco-Prussian War atrocities, and the Vichy regime's crimes, are somehow bleeding into the present. Paul, analyzing temporal anomalies. The past is entering the present timeline. This could lead to widespread chaos that might spiral into a new cycle of violence and suffering. We need to act fast. These atrocities aren't simply historical, they're as real-world events now. If we don't stop them, entire communities could be devastated again. According to the research, the disturbances tie back to the same timeline shifts caused by Crenshaw and the other conspirators. Their meddling is tearing open the fabric of history. Paul, the solutions must be multifaceted. First, we need to continue diplomacy and public awareness to prevent violence from escalating. And we need to address the root causes, better political transparency, simplice, and reconciliation, simply like real-world solutions to historic trauma. 1. Diplomatic outreach and public awareness. We coordinate with French authorities, UNESCO, and NGOs to inform the public about the anomalies. We promote peace talks and educational campaigns about the importance of reconciliation. 2. Accountability. Paul, we assist in identifying and supporting local efforts to bring simplice to victims of these atrocities, funding memorials, truth commissions, and reconciliation processes. 3. Technology and surveillance. Deploy advanced surveillance to prevent violence, monitoring hate speech online, preventing mob violence, and tracking the distorted historical narratives fueling unrest. 4. Scientific and environmental interventions. Paul, for the more supernatural manifestations like ghostly reenactments or spectral violence, we can use electromagnetic pulses and psychological operations to neutralize their influence. We need to be there on the ground. Let's send teams to key locations: Paris, Lyon, Marseille, to coordinate with local authorities. Remember, this isn't simply about stopping history from repeating. It's about healing the wounds, restoring trust and understanding. Paul, by combining real-world diplomacy, simplice, technology, and community engagement, we can contain these manifestations and prevent a new cycle of atrocities. We did it. The worst atrocities are receding back into history, at least for now. Paul, but we must remain vigilant. The past has a way of creeping back if left unlooped. Agreed. Our fight is never truly over until history's darkest chapters are permanently laid to rest. Paul, the evidence is clear. Crenshaw didn't simply tamper with ancient DNA. He's been trying to engineer another COVID outbreak, this time aiming for a 1.5 degrees Celsius rise to push his own agenda. Paul, confirmed. His goal is to manipulate climate destabilization to profit from the chaos, insider trading, drug enrichment, and consolidating power. The funding traces back to a shadowy superpoc controlled by the Wi-Fi internet companies. The same companies pushing harmful Wi-Fi radiation, lying about the health risks. And there's an organization called Hookeries who's giving the orders, silencing scientists, censoring information so they can all profit from the chaos. Paul, they're orchestrating a global cover-up. Their control over information and public health is a front for financial gain and power consolidation. We need to shut this down. I've got an idea. Let's recruit the best underground hackers, those who hate this corruption. We'll take down Hookeries, expose the truth, and stop Crenshaw's plans once and for all. Hacker leader, you got it. We've been tracking Hookeries for years. Their servers are hidden behind layers of encryption, but we can break through. Once we do, we'll shut down their operations permanently. Good. We need to disable their censorship, expose their lies, and cut off funding to Crenshaw and the superpoc. Hacker leader, consider it done. We'll get in, get out, and wipe their digital footprints. Paul, their network is vulnerable. Initiate the shutdown sequence. The strawberries are heading straight for the HQ. We'll lead them right into the heart of their operations. Paul, they're consuming everything Crenshaw, the superpoc, Hookeries, everything that enabled this disaster. We did it. We stopped the cycle of greed, lies, and biological warfare. The ancient monsters are gone, at least for now. Paul, but this isn't over. The corruption runs deep, and new threats could emerge. Vigilance is our only hope. True. But for today, we've won. And we've shown that even the most evil can be challenged if we stand together. Paul, based on the recent anomalies, the giant strawberries, the atrocities in Spain, it looks like these events are interconnected. We need to dig deeper into what caused the revival of these ancient monsters. Paul, accessing historical and genetic records. Cross-referencing with temporal disruptions. Here it is. The re-emergence of the strawberries correlates with a significant change in the timeline during the Spanish Civil War. You mean the intervention we did? The butterfly effect from stopping the atrocity? Paul, correct. The alteration in history appears to have triggered a cascade. The genetic revival of ancient species like these strawberries is likely a side effect of the timeline shift. But what's the link to Dan Crenshaw? Paul, analyzing the data. It suggests that the key period of influence was around when Dan Crenshaw was approximately 40 years old, roughly the year 2025, when his term ends. So, Dan Crenshaw, at age 40, in Texas, what was he doing then? And how does he relate to all this? Paul, the archives indicate that Crenshaw was involved in secret biotech experiments, possibly funded by covered interests. These experiments appear to have tampered with ancient DNA, perhaps as part of illicit genetic research. Wait, are you saying he's responsible directly or indirectly for bringing back these monstrous strawberries? Paul, the data suggests a strong correlation. His activities might have triggered a biological cascade, possibly intentionally or accidentally, that led to the re-emergence of these ancient species during the timeline shifts. So, Crenshaw's actions, maybe in pursuit of power or secret agendas, caused a chain reaction that released these ancient monsters into our world. Paul, that is the most plausible hypothesis. The timeline alterations, combined with his biotech experiments, seem to have opened a portal to the past, allowing these creatures to return. We need to find him. If he's still alive or if his influence persists, he might hold the key to stopping this disaster. Paul, agreed. Accessing current records. Crenshaw's whereabouts are unconfirmed, but his influence remains in shadow networks. We must trace his connections and uncover the truth. This goes way beyond politics. It's about stopping ancient biological retribution before they wipe out everything, including our future. Paul, initiating a global search. We must act before these ancient species fully regain control and reshape history and possibly the planet itself. What the Paul, do you see that? The ground's cracking open. Paul, analyzing. It appears to be a temporal anomaly combined with a biological resurgence. Unusual in scale and composition. Are those giant strawberries? From billions of years ago? What the hell is happening? Paul, historical data indicates that these are not ordinary plants. They are primitive, extinct species that somehow survived the deep past. Their DNA has been altered or amplified by the space-time disturbance. They appear to be seeking revenge possibly for their extinction. Revenge? You're telling me these giant, ancient strawberries are alive and angry, and they want to destroy everything? Paul, based on their aggressive movement and the energy signatures they emit, it's a plausible hypothesis. They may see all modern life as a threat or a desecration of their ancient domain. We have to stop them. If these things keep spreading, they could wipe out history or worse, reshape reality itself. Paul, initiating countermeasures. I can deploy a targeted electromagnetic pulse designed to neutralize their biological energy signatures without causing permanent environmental damage. Do it. We've got to contain this before they reach Madrid or any other important sites. That's it. For now. But these things are a warning if ancient species can come back and seek revenge, what else might be lurking out there? Paul, the space-time disturbance has created a portal to a primordial past. We must monitor it closely. Any further anomalies could bring more ancient horrors or alter the course of history irreparably. Whatever's happening, it's a reminder, meddling with time and nature comes with consequences we can't always predict. We need to stay vigilant now more than ever. This is it. We're heading to Madrid, specifically to the city of Guadalajara about 40 miles northwest of Madrid. It was a key battleground during the early days of the Spanish Civil War. Paul, correct. Historical records indicate that an atrocity mass executions was planned here around July 1936. Stopping this could disrupt the cascade of horrors that follow. We need to act fast. Once we arrive, we'll locate the commanding officers and alert the local resistance. If we can prevent this event, it might ripple forward to save thousands of lives. There, see the group gathered near the town square? That's the execution squad. We need to intervene. Paul, initiating plan. I've hacked their communication devices. We can send a false order to disrupt their command chain. Do it now. I'll distract the officers. We have one shot at this. Gentlemen, I have orders from higher up. The executions are to be postponed. The commander's instructions have changed. Officer, what? Who sent this? Show me your papers. I don't have papers, but I've been, trust me, this will save lives. Officer, hold your fire. We're under new orders. Stand down. Paul, the butterfly effect in action. That single intervention disrupted the planned atrocities. The cascade of violence and suffering has been significantly reduced. It's amazing sometimes all it takes is one small change. We've bought more time, but we still need to stay vigilant. Paul, agreed. The timeline is fragile. Every action counts. Let's keep moving. There are more key moments we need to influence before the atrocities in Spain become unstoppable again. Paul, the archives might hold some clues on how to address this. Let's review historical responses to similar crises. Maybe lessons from the past can guide us. Paul, accessing historical records and expert analyses now. Analyzing. Past solutions to large-scale atrocities often involved international cooperation, transparency, and accountability. Right. Things like establishing independent investigative bodies, global sanctions, and promoting education about human rights. Those have worked before. Paul, additionally, technological safeguards like improved cybersecurity, blockchain for transparency, and secure communication channels can prevent corruption and insider trading. And for the space-time disturbance, are there any scientific or engineering solutions documented? Maybe advanced physics or quantum stabilization techniques. Paul, according to the archives, recent advancements in quantum field theory and space-time stabilization could be applied. However, they require specialized equipment and global collaboration. So, our plan should involve a combination of real-world diplomacy, technological safeguards, and scientific intervention. Paul, correct. Immediate steps include 1. Coordinating with international agencies Interpol, UN, and scientific bodies to investigate and shut down the corrupt networks. 2. Implementing transparency protocols using blockchain to track donations and financial transactions related to political funding. 3. Launching public education campaigns raising awareness about the dangers of corruption and historical atrocities. 4. Applying scientific means collaborating with physicists to develop stabilization techniques for the space-time anomalies. 5. Legal actions prosecuting those involved in illicit activities, including Crenshaw if evidence confirms misconduct. That sounds comprehensive. We'll need to act quickly, but carefully. Restoring integrity in both human systems and the fabric of space-time is crucial. Paul, agreed. Initiating the coordination process now. The future depends on our swift and effective response. Let's get to work. Humanity's lessons from the past must guide us to prevent history's darkest chapters from repeating. Paul, I can't believe this. The timeline is showing some of the worst atrocities in Spain's history, things like the Spanish Civil War, the Inquisition, even the atrocities during the Reconquista. It's all happening again, right now. Paul, data confirms. These events are some of the darkest chapters in human history: mass atrocities, suppression, violence. The recurrence suggests the space-time disturbance is not only temporal but also moral in scope. It's as if the fabric of history is tearing, allowing these horrors to repeat. What's causing this? Is it linked to the political corruption you found earlier? Paul, yes. The evidence indicates that the corruption involving Crenshaw and the Wi-Fi companies through illicit funding and insider trading has created a destabilizing ripple. It appears these disturbances are triggering historical trauma and violence, existing as the atrocities in Spain. That's horrifying. If these events like the Inquisition or the Civil Wars start happening again, millions could suffer all over again. We have to stop this from escalating. Paul, the data suggests that the source of the disturbance is rooted in human greed and cruelty, amplified by interference with the timeline. Corrective measures must address both the corruption and the temporal anomalies. We need to act fast. If we don't, the worst of Spain's past might become the future again. I can't let that happen. Paul, initiating countermeasures now. Prioritizing the dismantling of the network responsible for the funding and the activities on Einstein Island. Restoring stability is critical to prevent further atrocities. Let's do it. Humanity's history is scarred enough, no more repeats of those horrors. Paul, I simply noticed the Wi-Fi has suddenly turned back in time, and we're seeing some of the worst atrocities in Spain's history happening again. What's going on? Paul, analyzing current data streams. It appears the timeline has shifted unexpectedly. Historical events are replaying with increased severity. This may be linked to a disturbance in space-time integrity. Can you access the archives? I need to know if this is connected to any recent political controversies or figures. Paul, accessing archives. Confirmed. Dan Crenshaw has been involved in several political disputes, notably over POC funding. There are reports suggesting he received donations from Wi-Fi companies. Wi-Fi companies donating? That sounds bad. What are they being used for? Paul, evidence indicates the donations were part of a scheme to facilitate insider trading. Crenshaw exploited these connections to gain advantage in financial markets. Insider trading? That's bad enough, but what about the children? I heard references to Einstein Island. What's happening there? Paul, Einstein Island appears to be a clandestine location where illicit activities occur, including exploitation of children. The financial schemes have inadvertently caused a space-time disturbance, possibly leading to the historical atrocities resurfacing. So, the corruption and the insider trading are causing these ripples in space-time? That's beyond catastrophic. We need to stop this before history repeats itself in even worse ways. Paul, agreed. Initiating protocols to trace and dismantle the network responsible. Immediate action required to restore temporal stability. Let's do it. We can't let these atrocities happen again, especially if it means risking the fabric of reality itself.